W's and L's, the show where we give a W to the things that we like and a L to the things that we don't. I guess I'll go first. All right, so there was a Nike ad that played last night after the LA Dodgers closed out the Toronto Blue Jays for the World Series. That was perfection. If you're a Lakers fan, you know at the end of Lakers wins, you always hear the "I love LA" that song playing as they're dropping confetti or whatever. And so while that's happening, they kind of roll in the credits. The credits are the players on the roster for the LA Dodgers. So it's kind of like it's giving a cinematic feel. It's like the rolling credits for a movie. If the World Series was a movie or if the playoff run for the Dodgers was a movie, then this was the credits on their championship run, right? So they come in with the "I love LA," and then it's reincarnated. I've been stargazing. Life goes on. I need all my babies. Yup, yup. Woke up looking for the broccoli. Hockey. Keep a horn on me. Duck on my seat. Not to squabble up, right? They found a way to play on the whole Kendrick and Drake beef, and obviously with LA beating Toronto, kind of spoke for itself. But the very poignantly placed Nike ad right at the end. It's so impressive to me that they spend the money on different variations of how the World Series could play out so that they have an exact commercial for whatever scenario plays out. Or they're involved in the illegal gambling and fixing of the game. Whatever you want to believe nowadays with professional sports. But they have to spend a little bit of money if you're, not as cynical as others to say that they don't really know what's going to happen. So they have to plan for it and shoot multiple scenarios. I think that's a very forward way thinking of marketing because the timing of it is genius. Nobody else is going to have similar marketing to that. And it's very draws in the viewer, the consumer. So I gave him a dub for that. I felt like it was a pretty good ad placement. All right, next dub I got is going out to Master P. Master P, he collabed with a manufacturer of wheelchairs for special needs kids. He's going to be doing a customized line with them. Right, going to be having a Master P brand or a P Miller brand or whatever you want to call it with the wheelchair manufacturer. So giving them some style to their setup, right, to their seat, making it a little snazzy, give them a little swag on it. Shout out to Master P because he does things like that. He had the shoes that he was selling at a discounted price. I always feel bad for the artists or the athletes that try to do that because we clown them. And it's like, yo, that's what we need. Like we need a popularized brand that don't cost us our whole check. That's not going to make us go into layaway to buy some shoes for our fucking kids. Like we need that type of shit. So when I look at things like that, where, an extravagant wheelchair or what a kid might think is a good looking wheelchair might cost a parent an arm and a leg. Here go Percy Miller, stepping in to provide something for people who can't afford shit like that. So I definitely shout out to Master P. Shout out to Master P. Also, shout out to Master P for creating another way to punish your children. Instead of doing the what are those? The 112s, the joints. Instead of doing those, we're gonna do I want you to do 201 Master P's. Give me 200 of them. Get the knees up. Whew. That's the new workout for the kids when they get in trouble. Wheelchair like a no limit tank is insane. Y'all gotta relax. But a wheelchair with some hydraulics, it'll hit. Oh yeah, you flipping them switches, Timmy. You flipping them switches. Brian Michael Bendis making a return to Marvel. There's been a lot of speculation about his impending return and what he could possibly be writing. This excites me, man. I've told you guys before, I'm a Michael Bendis sycophant. I love Michael Bendis. The first comic book run that I started to purchase on my own was his run on New Avengers, Iron Man, Cap, Wolverine, Spider-Woman, Spider-Man was on there, Luke Cage was on there. It was a good team, man. It was a good team. That was pre Riri Williams. That was pre Miles Morales. That was back in the Bendis New Avengers days. It was dope. But I'm very excited from the prospect of him coming back. So much so to the point that if it's an Avengers book that he's writing, I'm probably going to pick it up and review it. You guys know that I used to review comic books here on the channel, and while since then the channel has grown and kind of evolved in some different ways, and we've been doing some different stuff, I've never really gotten off of my comic book love. To be kind of candid with everybody, I don't think I've ever really talked about why I stopped reviewing comic books. At the time that I was doing it, not only were we kind of struggling with viewership, but personally, I was dealing with a job loss. And so at that time, it became almost impossible to continue to keep purchasing comic books every week. It just didn't seem to make sense. That was kind of a dark time, man. Wasn't able to get your stuff, get the things that like made me, like getting those books really helped. And then the store closed down. So that really sucked. On top of not being able to go and pick up my pools every week, because that situation, wasn't able to ever really go back, because when I had a little bit of income to do so, they closed down. So been off of comics here for a little more than a year. And a writer like Brian Michael Bendis would definitely motivate me to start picking up books again. That, in comparison with what Hickman has planned for Black Panther, is more than enough motivation to maybe get back into some comic books. So, keep your eye out for that. Maybe it'll be some membership content. I know the other half of our membership has been kind of struggling feeding y'all content. So, we'll see if I can assist in some kind of way. Sorry, Josh. No Limit won. Masterpiece Knees were the real MVP. They were the real MVP, but they ain't win that. Yeah, I don't care what y'all say either. I got Cash Money. No, Bendis won't write Black Panther. Will he write an Avengers book? It was the ask. Black Panther seems like it's being stewarded by Hickman right now with Imperial. So definitely something to double back on. Are you interested in the absolute DC universe? Not a big DC guy. I like some of the milestone stuff. I was reading Hardware and Icon back when I was still pulling books every week, but I'm not a huge DC guy. I'm not going to be. I don't read Supes or Bats, and I feel like if you don't read Supes or Batman on DC, then you're not really a DC person. If you don't have one of those, NBA The Run. So there's been a video game, a 3-on-3 video game that has been developed that kind of rivals NBA Streets in my estimation, from what I can see. That is coming out here pretty soon. So it's a fast-paced online 3-on-3 basketball game releasing on PS5, Xbox Series XS, and Steam in 2026. I like this. It's still kind of pushing people towards constant online play, but I'm assuming that this is something that you can co-opt with the people in your house, right? Like you can put a 3-on-3 team together in the house, play against a computer. You can have 3-on-3 teams versus each other. This is just a new age NBA Street, it feels like. So that in that way, it does kind of feel like a return back to how games used to be, because you could play Streets Volume 2 online too. So I think this is just kind of like a return back to what it used to be, a combination of online play and co-ops, as opposed to nothing but online play for the entire game. I feel like that's a one-way ticket to putting video games in position of where movies are. I'm telling you, man, Xbox is the first domino to the whole no longer doing consoles things for gaming. When they're fully on that train, video games will be movies. They will be TV shows. In the fact that you cannot upload this content onto the internet and just think that you're protected. You can't put this shit permanently on the internet, only on the internet, and think that people aren't going to steal it, and think that people don't have a way of stealing it. They'll pirate it before they pay you for it. They'll pirate it before they go broke paying for it. Some people will go going broke for it, but the vast majority of people will just steal it. So when video game piracy hits its apex, and you've already given up on consoles, then what? What you gonna do then? Microsoft, balls in your court. But no, I'm hyped for the game. I don't know if it's a day one purchase for me, but I'll definitely be playing it. Travis Peters is getting a dub for me. Travis Peters is an urban farmer from Detroit. So in light of the government shutdown here in the United States, that's been going on for more than 30 days, Mr. Peters, Travis Peters, is using his community garden to give away free produce to people in his area. Shout out to Travis Porter, man. Travis Peters. Why do I keep Travis Porter? Travis Peters of Detroit, an urban farmer, giving out free produce to his people. You gotta love stuff like that, man. You gotta love stuff like that. Now, is that going to change the reality for all the people in Detroit whose SNAP benefits are going to be lost? No, it's not. If you had 100 more Travis Peters, maybe there's some actual change that could happen there. Maybe there's a unifying venture that could be had for all of them to try to stem the tide of lost SNAP benefits. Now, this I heard this after I learned about this story about Mr. Peters there in Detroit, but there was a federal judge who forced Trump and his administration to release a contingency set of funds that were meant to pay SNAP benefits in the case of a government shutdown. They were trying to sit up there and play the fuck out of crazy like they didn't have to pay them out. So that'll at least, help people for this month coming up. But it's not like it's a permanent fix. It's not a permanent fix. Restarting the government's a permanent fix, and even that is not a fix if you're not going to reinstate the ACA subsidies that everybody needs for their healthcare here. So a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things up for debate. One thing that's not up for debate is our humanity. I don't think anybody should lose access to healthcare because of price, and I also don't think anybody should go hungry because of price. It's kind of basic necessity. So shout out to Travis Peters for doing his part. All right, let's get on to these L's. Y'all remember Brick Lady Rhoda, the lady who said she got hit with a brick leaving out the club, and it was a black man, and why would you do that to a black woman? And oh my God, nobody helped. There was this group of black men and they didn't help, and oh my gosh. So we found out all that story was horseshit. She didn't get hit with a brick. She hit the man first. She had done these kind of scams before. Through the investigation, I think PayPal or GoFundMe, it was GoFundMe, didn't allow her to make any more donate or fundraisers because of this whole football. She was awaiting trial. She's been found guilty. She's been sentenced. She was sentenced to 90 days in jail. Treatment, I'm thinking of the psychiatric variety. $42,000 in restitution. That's the money that she raised after the GoFundMe went up after this situation. 10-year probation and 10-year social media ban. So she can't be on social media for 10 years. They found her to be so guilty of being a chronic scammer that they banned her from all social media for 10 years. Damn, I am so lucky I didn't bet my entire reputation on that. I didn't attach my name and any respect that others had for me and tried to defend her to the bone, tried to invoke, actual history of police violence and lies and trying to plant evidence on witnesses and lying on witnesses to defend this woman. And I'm so glad I didn't fall on the sword of ignorance trying to defend a clear grifter just for the sake of being called a protector of black women. And can still be a protector of black women because even though I didn't do that. I'm so glad, you know. Dignity is a rare thing to have these days, but don't it feel good when you got it? God damn. God damn. But yeah, $42,000 in restitution and 90 days in jail, pretty much, in the 10-year social media ban. The L should go to social media simps stupid enough to believe her. Oh, just one simp in particular. Anyways, awesome. You just missed the Halloween parade. Damn, dog. Oh yeah, I seen that. Dubbed to the New York Halloween parade, which actually looked like one big ass Michael Jackson Thriller mashup. That shit was lit. That shit was absolutely lit. Not a big gotta be in New York kind of guy. It's more my wife, but I would definitely go there for that. That looked dope. Looks dope. We talk a lot about the massacre and the genocide that have been perpetuated in Gaza. We also have brought up some of the nastiness that was going on in the Congo. Some of the newer news that we're getting in terms of, inhumane conditions, genocidal conditions, mass murdering conditions is happening in the Sudan right now. Last week, there was a murder there was a massacre there that was so vast and so deadly that the blood from the remains of the individuals who were caught up in the massacre were able to be seen from a space satellite. So this is according to the WHO. More than 460 people were reportedly killed in North Darfur, a hospital that was overrun by Sudanese paramilitary forces, said the WHO. Now, these paramilitary forces, and I could be wrong on this, so I'll double check myself here in a second, but I believe they're UAE backed. All right, so United Emirates, the Arab Emirates. And it's not just them, right? Because most of the cobalt, the lithium mining and things of that nature that's going on in the Congo and the Sudan and these countries, the reason why these paramilitary forces are there in the first place is to protect those interests. And so the reason why I always feel like it's so hard to talk about these issues is because it's very clear where the severance needs to happen to stop the killing in Gaza. It's much simpler. They always like to paint that situation as very complicated and it involves so much history and then there's a both sides argument. It's not complicated. One side is there illegally and has been there illegally since 1948, and the other side has done everything in their power, including violence, to survive as a people. Okay, it's not hard to understand. To cut off what is happening to those folks, you need to cut off Israel. Full stop. It's easy. With the forces that are being led in places like the Congo and Sudan right now, it's not that cutting them or stopping those forces would be the end all be all, because it wouldn't, right? There would be more mercenaries. There would be more war groups there to replace them. It's all of the Western interest that's involved, not just Western, the Western and Saudi interest that's involved in the mining operations that are going on there, right? What do I look like? See, it's very easy for me because I don't have to fucking eat McDonald's. I can flip Target the bird. I can tell Starbucks to suck my piece. I can look at all these brands that openly send money to an apartheid state and flip them the bird. What I can't do is get on this platform and be like, all right, y'all not human if y'all support what's going on in Sudan and Congo while I'm working on lithium batteries. How can I possibly disconnect myself from that carnage? You can't. This is even worse. This is worse than even, the blood diamonds are. Like, you can't. This is not a conflict diamond. Our world here in the Western life runs on these things. And so it would be hypocritical and a little two-faced it to be like, no, this is what you need to do to boycott these situations. I honestly don't know how. We don't know how. The money and interest that are benefiting from the death and destruction that is happening over there in those countries have so deeply ingrained themselves into our lives. You would have to live off the grid somewhere and living off the land to feel fully disconnected from that machine. And so I struggle with finding ways not to be complicit in it. It's hard because literally all of these projects, my camera, these screens, my phone, all of it is powered by the death of black bodies. So it's deep. It is. And I don't pretend to have the answer to it, but I'm aware enough to know that the interests are so deeply ingrained into my life. There's no easy way to boycott it other than, making people more aware about it and hoping a solution arises. Dude, why is Trump now threatening to go to war in Nigeria over religious practices? But there's probably some natural resource there that we need that we're not receiving because of the trade war that we're launching on the world. There's probably some natural resource that is in Nigeria that we want to take control over, or we want to exploit because we now have an even worse off deal with some country that we screwed over in the tariff deals. We virtually every trade fight that we've started since Trump came into office, we've lost. He's backed off of almost every single one. And the only result that has come to the American consumer is higher prices on the counters, on the aisles. Sonya Massey's killer got convicted of and found guilty of second-degree murder. I don't know why it wasn't first. I know with first degree, there's some sort of premeditation that comes into it. He seemed pretty calculated to me. And also being in the position he is as the law enforcement officer and not a person with clear mental health issues. The dichotomy between those two people in their brain function and their responsibility to one another feels like we probably could have went to murder one. But then again, y'all know I ain't no legal analyst. I'll just be talking about what I think I know. So I'm glad that they found him guilty on the murder charge. I hope they give him the max sentence. It's somewhere between 5 and 20 years. So let's go ahead and apply that max. Because if you watch the video, I don't think there's really any reasoning to not give him the max. It wasn't an accident. It was deliberate. It looked like to me that the individual firing the weapon had much less value for the life on the other end of the gun than he did behind it. And that is the scenario that we find ourselves in so many times with those type of situations. So I'm glad justice was served in that case. Drake and Adin Ross are being sued. Class action lawsuit for being male gambling gropers or groomers. Excuse me, not gropers. Groomers. They are wrapped up in a class action lawsuit with Stake, I believe it is, because they are promoting gambling. What's behind all this is that when, Adin or Drake are live on stream and they're gambling and they're placing these large exorbitant bets and they're telling other people, hey, follow me, you guys bet on these same things too. That's all well and good when you're doing it with your money. But if the companies are staking you, right, i.e. giving you cash to play with so it doesn't really matter if you lose or not, that is something that you have to divulge to the audience. Hey, and most people will still prop bet with you. It's so deep into the society now. People are so hooked to it. They will see that, and some people will still bet with you. So it's not like you're gonna be hurting for business. But when you're going out here and you putting $50,000 bets on NBA games, regular season games, and people like, oh shit, I mean, this may be the one. This may be the one I can actually come up with Drake. This may be the one. He putting $50,000 on it, and he got a lot of money. He didn't make it by being stupid. Let me bet with him. If you're not telling people that the casinos are giving you that money to play with, that shit is illegal, and you should be able to get sued. Absolutely. I think probably Drake more than Adin Ross even as well. I mean, we've seen him for years flaunt his gambling addictions. For years. I don't think ain't no saving that boy. Last one. So this take actually came courtesy of the Rory and Maul podcast. Shout out to Maul and Baby D for having this discussion. I don't know how they got on this. Well, actually, I do. They were talking about the verses. They got on the subject of Master P and what he's meant to hip hop. They talked about how he played in the NBA briefly, how he was on the Toronto Raptors. And it sparked a bit of a conversation. She was like, well, Damaris said, do you think that he's better than Bronny? And I thought that was an interesting toss-up to bring to the chat for this Sunday. Who do you have in a one-on-one game? Now, we're not talking about Percy Miller today. We're talking about prime Master P, prime Percy Miller when he was in that preseason game balling for the Toronto Raptors so long ago versus Bronny today. Who do you got one-on-one? Bronny versus Master P, and I need answers in the chat. I need answers. Who you got, Bronny or Master P? Black Cinema Critic says Master P. Easily Master P for me. Breck Warren, Master P. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's 2 for Master P. Connoisseur triple salute. Got P. Damn. Bronny going down in flames. Anybody got Bronny? MoFly, you a Bronny fan. You got Bronny, right? Bronny will beat Master P? Chillmonger, little child in 5. Okay. I don't know, man. Go back and watch that footage of that preseason game. Percy Miller wasn't no joke. Plus, he's tall as shit. He like 6'5". In terms of NBA pedigree, you would have expected that maybe to come from the Miller family. Looking at those two. He only got because of his music. He only got cut because of his music. I mean, he looked legit. He looked legit enough. I will say that I don't know how good Percy Miller would have been if he had to play an entire NBA season. We can just say that and be fair because he never did. We have seen, however, Bronny play one. And he looked like he belonged in the short amount of time that he got in that game versus really any stretch that I've seen Bronny play in the big leagues. Now, he's had some moments in the G League where he looked dominant, but never really in the NBA. Never at the upper level. Yeah, I think we're going with Master P, y'all. I think we're going with Master P. Man, that's it. That is the toss-up. That's the dubs and nails. That's the behind the cape. Give us your thoughts on the takes we got this week. Tell me the takes that you had. Tell me what you thought about mine. Like, share, subscribe. Please help us grow this thing out as big as we can. You're the lifeblood of the string. We appreciate y'all. We'll have these up, the replays on Wednesday at 10. You can catch us every Sunday at 4:30. You can catch them live.